I'm sure you've heard this before. No is a complete sentence. It is and it isn't. It can also be a temper tantrum, and it can also be an attempt at drawing a line and a boundary without the knowledge or ability to actually enforce that boundary. A lot of people have talked about boundaries. You can't make a boundary that is relying on someone else's behavior. It doesn't work very well. You make a boundary based on your own behavior. If you do this, I will walk away. That's a boundary. If you do this, I will not talk to you anymore. That's a boundary. Don't you dare do this. No is not a boundary. It's a demand that requires someone else to do to change their behavior. A boundary can be thought of as a contract that you put into the world. If you do this to me, I will do this in response. It's got something of the form of a contract, and it needs to be stated. That's another feature of explicit, out loud, spoken contract. Is you got to say both sides of the contract. A lot of people try to have unspoken contracts, or assert that an unspoken contract exists. One of my favorites is the so-called social contract. It's not a contract. It's an assertion that other people owe you something. That almost inevitably, when someone is talking about, well, the social contract says this, they're trying to obligate you to do what they want you to do, because their impression of the world is you have to do it because you're alive and in the same space that they are. That's not a contract. It's also not a boundary. I mean, I think a lot of people think that they're asserting their own rights, when really what they are is expressing their own wishes in a way that it's trying to manipulate you into getting you to perform what they wish to have performed for them, usually. So no is a complete sentence. It's just not. It's not a very good sentence sometimes. Sometimes it's perfectly valid, but think about setting up a boundary. If you really mean no, put a boundary around it that's based on your behavior as a consequence of whatever you're talking about. You know, if you continue to talk to me this way, I'm going to leave the room. That would be a boundary. If you don't lower your voice, I'm leaving. I'm not going to say anything to you until you can do it in a calm voice, until you can speak in a calm voice. There's a kind of an if-then play here, right? If you've got a good boundary going, the other person knows where you stand, what behavior will result in which behavior when you set a boundary like that. This is a very simple, basic boundary, but it's the core of a well-established boundary. Is, well, what do you know? If I want to establish a boundary, what am I willing to do to enforce that boundary? Is the right question, rather than what do I demand of other people to get my boundary needs met. That's different. That's requiring the world to bend for you. That's not really a boundary. That's a tantrum. So That's 5 minutes, that's long enough. No does mean no, but it's not a full sentence if you want clear communication and an enforceable boundary.